for Zhang Anda that's ultimately cost him the match, but Ronnie still had to respond. A little bit of inspiration here in the final frame. This red was unbelievable to pot into the green pocket, and then to go on and win the frame at that visit, it was just magical Ronnie O'Sullivan at his very best.
Yeah, absolutely magical start to finish. Now, in terms of the head-to-head for Ronnie O'Sullivan and Si Jiahui, a phenomenally talented player. If we cast our minds back to 2023 at the Crucible, he went all the way through to the semi-finals and was favourite to, in fact, make the final. That wasn't to be. Look at the age difference there, almost doubling his age, double the experience. Is he double the player? Well, let's bring the boys out by handing to Tahir.
Ya هلا والله بكم بالسنوكر في الرياض. Welcome to the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters. A great crowd in, and it's the weekend here in Saudi Arabia. These fans are here because they want to see some of the world's greatest take to the bays. So let's not delay any longer, and let's get our players into the arena. Up first on table number 2 is this man. He was seeded 49th in the tournament and defeated Kyron Wilson, the world champion, to get to the quarterfinal. So up first, let's hear it for Jimmy. This three-time champion of the world, it's the world's potting machine, Mark Williams. V-table up first, we welcome the 2024 German Masters finalists. Let's hear it for Sir Jean-Louis. Opponent is the Rocket.
We shall see as we hand to our commentary team of Stephen Holworth and Phil Yates.
Yes, Radzi, lots of anticipation here in Riyadh. Si Jiahui already guaranteed his highest ever world ranking at the end of this tournament. But he's not satisfied with being in the quarterfinals, and he's got the capability of upsetting Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's been exclusively Chinese opposition for O'Sullivan so far. He comfortably beat Lei Pei Fan. It was anything but comfortable last night against Zhang Anda. Can he put in a virtuoso performance this evening and breeze through?
He's very much on the up, isn't he, Si Jiahui? For a number of years now, we've fancied him to go well in events, and he has all the ingredients to become a very good player, a very top player. But if he is to do that, it's moments like these where he has to stand up to it, show the world what he can do, show the greatest ever, Ronnie O'Sullivan, what he can do.
And there's an irony tonight, you know, because we talk about the class of 1992. Mark Williams, John Higgins, Ronnie O'Sullivan. John Higgins if he's to stay in the top 16 going into the next event, the English Open? Well, he has to see either C or Jimmy Robertson beaten. So his class of 1992 mates, pals, rivals could do him a favour.
Well, the attempt at the long red has gone astray for Ronnie. So first half chance for Si Jiahui. It's red to the green pocket with the rest.
Thank you.
As always, O'Sullivan is the crowd favourite.
One.
Just having a little glance at that black, see if it will pass to this left corner. I'm not sure it will. So taking the chance to try and just disturb them, try and push something slightly into play.
6.
He's kind of landed bang in the middle of them all there. A little bit awkward on everything. Awkward queuing for that red. Quite close to this red. One to the middle as well, but the cue ball is travelling away from everything. He could perhaps control it for green or brown. Well, he's missed it, has he? No, just crept in. These are the sort of breaks that Ronnie O'Sullivan can be very mesmerising to watch, just to see how he goes about business. How he just unlocks the puzzle.
Of course, he's known for his speed around the table, but it's not just down on the shots, it's the way he computes, the way he analyses the situation of the balls and realises what he's got to do.
Yes, and that's what makes it so intriguing to watch and a privilege to witness how he goes about business. There's always a motive behind every shot he plays.
16.
And at first, for the mere mortal watching on, it may not be obvious as to why he plays particular shots, but then a few shots later,
21.
It just reveals itself. He's ahead of the game, Ronnie. Always has been, but an early mistake.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 21.
Yeah, just on the incorrect side of the blue, left it pretty straight actually. That's why he had to try and pop this mid-distance red, and in the first frame, when you've not warmed up, that's a ball that can easily go astray.
One.
You saw from that camera angle of the red that Ronnie attempted that the object ball, the red ball in that case, left the bed of the table, which I've seen a few times this week. It's very rare these days you see heavy contacts. Not saying that's why he missed it, but there was a couple this afternoon. Neil Robertson had a bad one on a blue at a very important moment. This is a huge match for Si Jiahui.
8.
Possibly one of the biggest of his careers. Chance to get into the top 16 for the first time, a milestone.
I'll tell you what he'd love to do, what he did on his only previous meeting with O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan won that match 4-2. It was in the
14.
third round of the English Open last year. But C, in the first frame, made a century.
15. $21. 22.
This is Si Jiahui's fifth match, sorry, of this event. Played a lot of snooker this week.
28.
But now it feels like
29.
the event is only really just getting started. This now probably feels like the start of something potentially very big for Si Jiahui. The business end of this tournament.
Unintentionally pushed one red
35.
close to another. And when it comes to position, as we saw with O'Sullivan's visit, one slight error can lead to a breakdown.
This is where C's temperament is going to be tested heavily tonight. In the moments where he does make mistakes, such as that positional error, it's very important he takes a step back,
36.
takes his medicine, appreciate and realise, acknowledge that the break is over. He has to then try and nail Ronnie. It's no good just playing safe. Getting the cue ball into the balk area is just not going to do tonight. He's got to draw on all his ability, all his experience in his very short career so far, Si Jiahui. But he's going to need everything tonight.
O'Sullivan had a momentary concern about that red as it went towards the middle pocket, but the green helping. Mind you, C loves this kind of shot.
One.
Brilliant pot. Made better, in my opinion, by the fact, look at how close his bridge hand is to the cue ball there. So compact, not a lot of room underneath that cushion. Fully committed to the pot. And again now, he's potted the red okay, great pot. He's not in position, fine. Take a step back, figure out the exact play here, try and get Ronnie in trouble, ask him the question. Oh, is it going to get there? Brilliant shot. Well, I'm absolutely convinced Si Jiahui thought he'd missed that. It's a good job these tables are quick.
Yeah, he jumped up, didn't he, like a jack in the box. Thought he had left the cue ball short.
Foul on the miss. Si Jiahui full.
Now he's just looking at the possibility of potting this red, and he may be able to promote the other safe red at the same time. If it's too thin, he needs to consider that the cue ball is going to be going close to the yellow off the cushion, and it's about navigating a path to avoid them.
One. Six. Seven.
Yeah, that's a nice pot. So just this one red on the top cushion will be enough after this next colour. He's pretty good on the black as well to get over close to it. Anywhere in behind it would be ideal. Doesn't need to do anything with the red.
The early signs are encouraging,
14.
and the pressure on this red is diluted a little by the fact that the other red is awkward on the right-hand side cushion.
15. $22.
Snooker's already required, but he'd like to see a nice tight conclusion to this frame. That's why he's keeping things under wraps.
Thank you. Si Jiahui 22.
We often say, oh, the first frame is massive against anyone, but even more so against Ronnie O'Sullivan. But, you know, that kind of goes out the window. He was 3-0 down yesterday against Zhang Anda.
Foul. Si Jiahui
Came
4.
back to win that game.
Check that.
So the first frame isn't necessarily massive. It's about that relentless pursuit of the winning line. Keep striving, keep pushing.
So Olivier Martil isn't putting up an extra red here to help O'Sullivan bridge the gap. He's using that as a sighting guide to see whether it's going to be a free ball or not.
Yeah. Frame conceded, frame Si Jiahui.
Rather than have the bother of determining whether it is a free ball or not, Ronnie O'Sullivan said, you can have the frame. It was already won anyway. Si Jiahui draws first blood. This is a lengthy match, but one has to say Si Xiaowei has made a pretty positive start. He leads Ronnie O'Sullivan 1-0.
The second frame, Si Xiaowei to break.
He's the kind of player, Stephen Hallworth, that you don't want to get away from you, because when Si is on form and knocking them in, he can be very hard to stop.
Yeah, he's an exciting player, isn't he? He's young, he's hungry, he wants success. I don't think he'll be intimidated at all by Ronnie O'Sullivan, as intimidating as he can be. You know, Si Xiaowei at 22 years of age, he's done an awful lot in his career so far. But so is this man. Ronnie O'Sullivan won everything there has to win in the game. He'll certainly be wanting to keep Si in his place. There's still plenty of life left in the rocket just yet. He'll be feeling it's not time for a change of the guard. Doesn't want to give these young guns a sniff, keep them right in their place.
That was sweetly struck.
13.
Deep screw and reverse side to land ideally on this red.
Thank you. 14. $21. 22.
Yeah, not the best shot he's ever played there, Ronnie. You can see he's absolutely disgusted by the fact he's come up a little too straight on this black. He had to get low enough there to get into the reds. And at that sort of pace, it was very unlikely he was going to push anything into play, but look
29.
at that shot. If he's on this red to middle, well, that was expertly played.
30.
That is the toughest way to go into a pack and break them up, off the top cushion first. And even Ronnie O'Sullivan doesn't have a 100% success rate with that shot.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 37.
Well, he played the cover there. He played the pot to middle, knowing full well the only ball he could possibly leave was the one he'd gone for, and that was unlikely. But it is left.
Well, he's just let that cue ball run on a fraction, so would have loved an angle on the blue to just come down and play a little cannon into those reds. It's got a very tough black now, and if he pots this, he has to fully commit. It's one of these shots where the line of the cue ball is going into the reds. Just focus all your attentions on the pot. Oh, brilliant shot. He's been a little bit unfortunate. He's been very unfortunate.
Si Xiaowei 1.
He had no real control over where that cue ball was going to land. Put all his efforts into the pot. It was a great pot, but to see the cue ball go in, you can't account for that.
Yes, and apart from leaving the table, that's a 14-point swing. In terms of experience, to say there's a gulf, that's an understatement. Si Jiahui appearing in his 5th ranking event quarter-final, trying to reach his 3rd semi-final. Ronnie O'Sullivan, he's playing his 146th ranking quarter-final, trying to make it through to the last 4 of a ranking event for the 94th time. Staggering numbers.
All you can do is laugh, really. It really is incredible, the career that he's had, and the fact that he's still here, still competing at the highest level, still wanting more. When do you call it a day? Another brilliant pot from Ronnie O'Sullivan. He just finds them out. Si Jiahui was in big trouble there, a shot previous. Couldn't really gain any sort of advantage. Took the chance to leave Ronnie the tempter, but well, he's missed the green. So, a possible turning point very early on in this match. Si Jiahui, 44 points behind in this frame, but look at the balls. Now these are the moments where he has to stand up and make it count. If he can punish Ronnie for mistakes like that, it will hurt.
One.
As soon as he potted that red, C wasn't entirely convinced he was going to be okay. As it is, he's pretty much perfect.
Eight. Nine.
As we've talked about already, last night O'Sullivan came back from 3-0 down. But at this level, you can't keep doing that. Even the genius that he is.
15.
Yes, that's right, because eventually someone is going to stand up and they are going to punish you.
16.
Not saying Zhang An did it all that much wrong last night. There was 1 or 2 balls in the whole match that he will probably look back on with regret. But that is the fine margins of top-level sport. The matches and games and frames can be in the balance.
23.
And just one moment can turn things. Si Jiahui is hoping that that missed green from Ronnie could be the start of something very big for him this evening.
24.
And C is no respecter of reputations. Last season he beat Neil Robertson, he beat Kyron Wilson.
31.
Already this season he's beaten 2023 world champion Luca Brissell.
39. 40.
With a chance like this and from a mistake like Ronnie's, it's not about anything other than belief and bottle. The balls are perfect. He's just got to control his cue ball. His brilliant technique allows him to have something to fall back on under pressure.
47.
Belief and bottle is everything. He's hit the front for the first time in this frame. Now it's about trying to see it out.
In a strange way, the ball that caused O'Sullivan to sit down might be the one that saves him, the green. That's the only remotely
54.
awkward ball on the table.
And if he can get anywhere just off straight on this yellow, high or low, he'll be perfect.
60. 62.
C needs green and brown.
$65.
And again, under pressure, that was a really well struck shot. And follows it up with the brown. So he's answered all
69.
the questions in this frame, Si Jiahui. What could potentially be a massive frame in this match.
74.
Mistake from Ronnie O'Sullivan has been punished.
$80. 87. My friend.
O'Sullivan looked for all the world as though he was going to equalise, but then came an uncharacteristic mistake, and C took full advantage. 2-0. Welcome back to quarterfinals day at the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters. On table 2, Mark Williams has taken the opening frame from Jimmy Robertson. Robertson leading by 29 points right now in frame 2. We will keep you fully up to date with that one, of course. But the big news here.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Across the arena, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Thank you. The third frame
Finds himself trailing 2-0.
O'Sullivan to break.
And the big news in the commentary box is that I'm joined by a pool legend. Guest commentator for a single frame. Take the stage, Jeremy Jones.
Yeah, well, thank you, Phil, and always an honor to be in the booth with you, of course, no matter the cue sport, but what an honor this is to do such an important match here between these two champions.
He's a very good potter from distance, see, but you can't knock them all in. So, Jeremy, I know you're here doing coaching at the academy. This is the first year of a 10-year deal for this tournament. And, of course, we've just had the first World 9-Ball Championship in Saudi Arabia a couple of months ago when Fedor Gorsht dramatically prevailed in a deciding rack. These events are massive, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Kingdom was pretty committed to Q Sports, period, but after landing these two events for the next 10 years, you know, it's something solid. It's something that's going to grow.
And on the right there, that's Dr. Nasser Al-Shamari, who's the head of the Saudi Arabia Billiards and Snooker Association, who's done such sterling work in bringing these events here. There's a youth movement in pool, as you know, Jeremy, and it's the same in snooker. So many fine players are coming through, including this 22-year-old.
Yeah, I like watching him play so far, that's for sure. Staying aggressive no matter what. Seems like that's the case in all sports. You know Ronnie probably as well as anyone. Phil, you know, when he's in these kind of situations, when he does get an opportunity, you know what's going through his mind.
So you've spent your life around pool. You're at the snooker tournament now. What do you make of it all?
It's just incredible. I'm really, you know, doing the training. Haven't got to see as much match play. Saw some early, and a treat to see tonight. But I really watched the players practice a lot. That's what I've got to see the most, and really impressive, of course, with the cueing. But just kind of like pretty similar to the pool players in some facets. But very dedicated. And again, you know, similarities from one player to the next, but all a little unique.
13. 14.
So what about the talents of the Saudi pool juniors? Are they looking good?
Yeah, they're looking real good. Of course, their best junior is in New Zealand right now, but playing the World Juniors. But yeah, we worked with them in Jeddah in June, and they've certainly improved since then, and they've improved daily since we've been here. A great training facility that they have at the Saudi Billiard and Snooker Federation.
20.
Well, here, history could be repeating itself. O'Sullivan last night made a slow start, was in all kinds of trouble, trailing 3-0, and we cannot discount that possibility again.
27.
Yeah, see, when he's gotten that first shot down, he's done what he's needed to do and got that 2-0 lead. He's got to open the reds at some
28.
time. Somewhat, anyways. Probably wanted a little more angle there.
Didn't like that. Needed to be delicate, and I think he
35.
might have marginally overdone the cue ball. He's perfectly okay.
36.
Now that's a veteran move.
Yeah, you know how QSR, they didn't get exactly where they wanted, but coming in off the short rail did produce the red in the left middle.
43.
Gotta like, too, a big moment, right? He gets on with it.
When a youngster, a prospect, is taking on
51.
a big star, it doesn't matter what the sport, it's the same principle. You have to believe, you have to have total confidence in your own ability to create an upset.
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. You got to believe it going in, but every ball he knocks
52.
in, it's going to make that belief a little stronger. Got just enough angle there.
59.
Sometimes these top pockets can be a little brutal when it comes to the near jaw, but that one squeezed in. But the black did not.
60.
And obviously I don't know C's game very well, but it seemed like he pulled the trigger a little quicker than the other balls. Now Ronnie with an opening. And don't you think the last red maybe, you know, the very dry conditions we have here this week?
1.
Yeah, the lack of humidity has made the tables, all of them, play absolutely beautifully. Now this is such a vital moment, a vital visit in this match.
6. 7.
During the day, of course, when the players are practicing, heard them talk about how the tables seem to be a hair faster as well because of the dry conditions.
14.
Ronnie O'Sullivan is the best great conditions player ever, and he's the best bad conditions player ever. But he'd prefer to play on a table like this, which
15.
is simply immaculate.
And it's sometimes a big mistake that kind of wakes up a giant like Ronnie, and that's what we saw there from C.
22. 23.
What you got to love about Ronnie in a, you know, down 2-0 in a tough situation. He really doesn't sit there and think too much about it. Just like you said in the opening, no one really kind of puts it together as quickly as Ronnie O'Sullivan.
30.
Sacrificed the cue ball being close to the side cushion there to intentionally remove the awkward red. And now he's in prime. Just checking the scoreboard. He's in no danger of having to pot a small selection of colours with the last couple of reds.
34.
Got plenty of latitude in that regard.
$35.
And he played for the ball colours there because it made position on the yellow so much easier.
$38. 40.
Trailing by 17, so he needs them all. And pink obviously a little more away from the black than normal.
$47. 52.
Can't get much better than that, Phil.
You bring Jeremy Jones into the commentary box and something special happens, whether it's pool or snooker. Ronnie O'Sullivan now has got his foot in the door. He's only 2-1 down. Sometimes you see a frame, you see a clearance, and you think, that is a stone cold certain turning point.
Thank you. Frame 4. See Joey to break.
That was the impression you gained from frame 3, but if Sijia Wee can win this one, that frame won't be forgotten, but the pain will be eased.
And how tough is it going to be for Sijia Wee to respond to that? A routine black off the spot. Perhaps went back to his chair, fearing the worst, with a bit of hope maybe that Ronnie wouldn't make the clearance with that safe red. But we saw it last night. A miss from Zhang Anda early on in the match proved very, very costly. Could we be looking back at that particular moment?
Just before we get into this, I can tell you Mark Williams has just cleared green to pink to take a 2-0 lead over Jimmy Robertson. O'Sullivan.
O'Sullivan 1.
Missing a few. He was lucky he got the kiss on the yellow.
Yeah, he didn't quite like it. Look where that cue ball is. It's quite awkward, just sat underneath that cushion a touch. Made controlling in and out of balk more difficult. Oh, that's a brilliant strike from Si Jiahui. Much better. This really now has become a test of temperament for this youngster. Can he erase the thoughts, the negative thoughts of that previous frame and just stay present? Go again. He's got to accept the fact that Ronnie O'Sullivan is going to keep hitting him, keep coming at him hard.
5.
Can he withstand it?
Six.
Last year in the World Championship, Si Jiahui led Luca Brissell 14-5 in their semi-final, but was ultimately the victim of one of the game's great comebacks, losing 17-15. When that's happened to you, it does tend to linger. That's why I think winning this frame is
8.
important, and that's why he'll hate the contact he got there in potting the yellow. It was very dull and he just didn't screw back anywhere near as far as he wanted to.
And that comeback that Luca made against him in that World semi-final, one of the most painful and biggest lessons of his career for sure. A match that he probably will never want to speak about ever
9.
again, but a match that he'll have taken so much from, whether he likes it or not. He'll have learned an awful lot from that game about composure, about how to win.
$15. $16.
Well, he's been here, there and everywhere so far in this break. He's not quite got hold of his cue ball just yet. He's looking for one or two good positional shots here.
But he's prepared to fight for a break, as he showed in the deciding frame of his first round match in
19.
the World Championship this year. Mark Williams was roaring back. It looked as though he was going to gain the verdict, but at 9-9, Si Jiahui put together a spellbinding 70+ break to win 10-9. He's made of the right stuff.
Well, it was a good pot to middle pocket, although nothing really seemed to happen to the cue ball there. He was clearly trying to come back for the pink into left corner. The screw was almost cancelled from a contact on one of the reds, so again, taking a second here, trying to figure out where best to leave Ronnie O'Sullivan to leave him in trouble.
Si Jiahui 20.
Well, that wasn't fit for purpose, that safety. He needs to improve on that.
Yeah, he's left the red to left corner for Ronnie, and he Can play it in such a way the cue ball's going back down the table. Head on the side of caution if you are going to miss that shot. Miss it thin.
Thank you.
Now that's a shot that certain players pull off brilliantly. Mark Selby springing to mind, but there, C coming off a couple of cushions, caught it far too thick. Needed to skim the reds, not bludgeon into them.
Thank you. 1.
So now it's Ronnie O'Sullivan's turn to find a few good positional shots here. He'd like to get down this business end as quickly as possible, try and get the pink back on its own spot in the next few shots if he can. Just sort of tidy up this area. It's all very congested. You can see clear disappointment on Ronnie's face there. He didn't hit that all that bad, but the cue ball just didn't seem to go where intended. Just trying to screw down the line. The 2 reds above the pink. Ended up nowhere near them, so had to take that red with the rest. He is on this pink now to left corner. Can he just play a controlling cannon to the red directly above it?
15. 16. 22. 23. 30. 31.
Will O'Sullivan be as clinical in this frame as he was in the last?
38. 39.
If you can get back to 2-2, it would feel as though he was leading.
Yes, it'll certainly be the happier of the two at the interval. Although he probably won't tell you that. Just give C something to think about. Now, one good shot here to leave himself a nice angle to just drop in behind that last red. Well, he may have ended up with a slight bit more angle than he would have liked.
46.
these dinky little shots when you're cutting back into a semi-blind
52.
pocket can so easily be missed. But not by Ronnie O'Sullivan on this occasion.
Well, he just made that look so easy. There's many a player on the professional tour that would have took a moment over that shot, come round, had a look at it, maybe
59.
built it up to a bigger shot than it was. It was a massive shot, and he made it look so simple.
Thanks. 61.
Just when you think the great man might be heading
64.
for a surprise defeat, he shows us his extraordinary skills and
68.
fortitude. Then the left-handed blue to rub it in.
$79.
Ronnie O'Sullivan cleared up to win the third frame on the black with 65. There it was 79. Suddenly the whole complexion of the match has changed. It's 2-2.
Welcome back to Riyadh. What a beautiful shot that is of the light, by the way. That's just to remind us there that it is 2 apiece. Ronnie O'Sullivan and Si Jiahui cannot be separated. But if you are just joining us, it was Si Jiahui who led by 2. Ronnie has mounted somewhat of a comeback. But Ken, we're here at the mid-session interval. Things could be very different.
It could be very different, but what an exciting 4 frames from both players. All Si Jiahui, you know, for 2.5 frames. 1 missed black, an opportunity to go 3-0 up, and then Ronnie, vintage O'Sullivan. Wonderful frame, a clearance, wasn't it? You know, back against the wall, had to get them all. This was the missed black that we saw. That was for 3-0, basically, and he was completely dominating Ronnie at the time, playing beautiful snooker, Si Jiahui. So confident, great to watch, got loads of flair. That missed black, and then O'Sullivan pounced with a wonderful clearance.
Basically frame ball, but can you put into context the significance of it being a black off the spot, not just a general missed shot, but there's some context to that?
Yeah, so, you know, he's got one eye on the pack of reds. He still needs one more red there, and he's made a cardinal sin, hasn't he, where he's just taken his eye for a split second off that pot, a little bit of focus on the contact of the pack. You know, it's a crippling miss when you go back to your chair, just knowing that Ronnie's going to come to the table and probably clear up, and that's exactly what he did.
What does Stephen Hendry say about Miss Blackstar? Unforgivable. Unforgivable.
Only he can get away with saying it as well.
Yeah.
If we cast our minds back to 2023 semi-final of the Worlds, I remember being sat with Ronnie O'Sullivan in the studio watching Si Jiahui, Luca Brissell. Luca Brissell, I think, was six frames ahead, and Ronnie said, "C's untested."
Yeah.
And then what happened was this incredible comeback. Ronnie didn't predict the comeback.
Yeah.
But the fact he said that, I just wonder now with C, would he always have that element of doubt that guys can come back at me?
Possibly. You know, they'll always have the nightmare, and people will always remind them about that, you know, collapse. From 14-5, he lost 17-16 in a world semi-final. It was unprecedented. So that will always sort of carry with him as long as he plays until he wins that world championship.
Yes.
But he has the potential. He has all the artillery to go to the very, very top in this game. Already he's become a top player at a very, very young age. And this is going to be a real test for him now. He should have been 3-0 up. He has to face the interval now, 15 minutes, get over it. It's a new session when he comes back out. Try and wipe the memory of that missed black and get out and try and do what he did in those first couple of frames.
It really is a fascinating match now. Si Jiahui, as any other player, would love to be inside the top 16. It's significant for essentially automatic qualifying when it comes to tournaments. Every player would love to be inside this top 16, and the way that it works, the way your ranking is determined, is that it is equated to the amount of money that you earn over a 2-year period. Now, cast your eye to number 16, Barry Hawkins. He's just inside. It might change after this tournament. John Higgins, however, he'll be watching both of these matches like a hawk because he wants certain results to happen in order to guarantee his place. But another member of the class of 92 would love nothing more than to stay inside the world top 16.
The only aim I had really was to see if I could be in a top 16 when I reach 50 years of age. I'm only 6 months away from becoming 50. And you know, it's looking like there's a good chance I could be in a top 16. And I think that's, for my age and where I am in my career, I think that's a big achievement, even though I suppose it's not, but in my eyes, I think it's not a bad achievement. I don't know how I won 2 tournaments last year, especially the tour champs, you know, beating Ronnie, Mark Allen, and Trump 3 matches in a row. What better way can you win a tournament? I mean, the win year would mean you got £500,000 tax-free in your pocket. That's really what everyone is here for, you know. Not the trophies, is it? It's the 500,000 everyone wants. Let's get it right, you know.
Well, there is Mark Williams there, and he has now just confirmed his 3rd frame against Jimmy Robertson, a man who himself has had a brilliant tournament, 49th in the world. But just actually a word, Steve, for Jimmy Robertson, because actually before we came on air, you said something really cool about him.
Yeah, you know, he's played Mark Williams a lot of times throughout his career. He's never actually beaten Mark Williams until their last meeting last season in the 2023 European Masters. He came through that match in a deciding frame, won the decider by a single point. So he's kind of broken that duck of never being able to beat a legend, but 3-0 down in this match already. I thought it might have gone closer, but it looks like Mark Williams is just showing his class at the minute.
He's got this habit of just managing to do just enough against Stuart Bingham. I spoke to Stuart afterwards. Stuart just said he felt like he gave it to him. It was 2-all at the mid-session interval against him. He said it could have been 4-0, but Mark getting across the line.
Yeah, he's got an innate way of winning matches when he's not playing his best. He's just a wonderful match player. And when he's not firing on all cylinders, the long balls aren't going in, he just finds a way to win, just to get through. Same against Tepchoya, 5-4. Same against Bingham. You know, he just got through. He said he played the worst he's ever played and won a match against Tepchoya. I don't know how Tepchoya feels after that. Wouldn't have felt very good, I tell you. But he just has an innate ability just to keep getting through. And he sort of comes to the fore towards the latter end of the tournament. We've seen it so many times over the years from Mark Williams.
We're still only 3 frames down, but he is definitely the heavy favourite to go through to the semi-finals. So let's remind ourselves of who have done just that. The beautiful nature of this tournament means that when it comes to the last 16, all the players played on the same day. The quarterfinals, exactly the same story. So in terms of Mark Williams, that's the man he's currently playing, and were he to better him, then we will see him go through to the semi-finals. Just a word for Mark Williams' temperament, by the way, Steve, because this is a guy who, when you see him walk around here, unlike, say, Murphy, big chest out, Mark Williams, you wouldn't know he's playing. He somehow manages to turn it on just walking through the doors.
He just floats around the arena, doesn't he? Like, you don't even notice him, as you say. He just kind of drifts about in his own little world. But, you know, that's the persona he gives off, and he very much plays that way as well. When you see him around the table, unflappable is probably the word to use, you know. He tries to almost convince himself that nothing bothers him, and this sort of carefree approach. He does care. Let's be honest. You know, he does care about snooker, but he convinces himself he doesn't. And in those big moments, you know, that can help him under pressure.
I wonder if it's not so much that he doesn't care; it's that it doesn't affect him off the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's one of those very few individuals that you wouldn't know when he came off the table whether he won or lost. You know, definitely not with me, because I'd be laughing my head off if I won, you know, and crying if I lost. You know what I mean? But you'd hear me before you'd see me. But with Mark Williams, you would not have a clue, would you? You know what I mean? He's exactly the same.
And he is class. And just a shout out to his son, by the way. His son has joined the military. Unfortunately, has injured himself. He's having a procedure very, very soon. So big shout out to Junior Williams. Although if his son is anything like his dad, then he won't be bothered either way. But as for us here, we are very much enjoying the snooker. It is 3 quarterfinals today. 2 men have booked their places in the semi-finals, and who will join them? We are very much looking forward to seeing the culmination of that match there. Ronnie O'Sullivan, Si Jiahui, 2 apiece, and in just a few moments' time, they'll get back on the bays. Welcome back to Riyadh, where it has been Chigwell versus China, and they cannot be separated by a single frame. So how will there be a twist in this potential plot? So let's hand back to our commentary team of Stephen Holworth and Phil Yates.
From here, no guarantees, no certainties. But I tell you what, I think the one thing that is pretty sure, we're in for a lot of entertainment. Another thing, Stephen Holworth, I'm sure you'll agree, it's pretty important for Si Jiahui to get this frame under his belt.
Yes, absolutely. It's very important. Every frame here on out is. I just get the impression that take away the frames that either player may win convincingly. It's going to be about those mistakes if they do come along from either. Can the other player punish them for them, like we saw in that third frame from Ronnie O'Sullivan? It's got all the makings of a very tight encounter, this match, and that could very well be the difference, those tight frames.
What a strange reaction that was.
Well, it sounded awfully heavy. I'd like to see that again. Si Jiahui straight away having the cue ball cleaned. Sounded like an eruption.
You can tell the kick either by visuals or the audio, and that was both. A clunking noise. Following the O'Sullivan blueprint by going left-handed.
And he struck it too well. But he never envisioned that he would get that much in it. Played into a big area there. He's overscrewed that by some distance. Referee getting his money's worth out of his gloves. Cleaning the cue ball for a second time in 2 shots. Now, can Si Jiahui knock this yellow into the middle pocket? Yeah, good hit. Nicely played, nicely controlled.
Three.
Well, that left much to be desired. Cue ball close to the side cushion, incorrect side of the blue.
If he can land himself straight on this red to left corner, he can just cue it in for the black, but he needs to be pretty straight. Well, he's missed the blue, and that was never in. As soon as he struck that, you could see that that was always top jaw.
Thank you. 1.
Well, not for the first time tonight. Ronnie O'Sullivan misses a blue, and he's greatly helped by a collision with the yellow. And again, not for the first time tonight. Si Jiahui's safety not up to scratch.
One.
Now Ronnie has this yellow to the middle pocket. Can he just float it down for the red above the black?
Three.
Oh, he's perfect here. He can screw the red away from the black as well. Oh, didn't quite catch the red as full as he may have liked, which is why he's lost the cue ball a touch.
4. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
It was a high tariff shot, and O'Sullivan just giving the early impressions of falling victim to frustration. But it wasn't easy.
No, and he also gave it the elbow after that one. You could see him just chicken wing his elbow out as if to say he didn't cue that one very well.
One.
He didn't, and that's why he missed it. So this frame, first frame after the interval, has become a little tense. Number of mistakes from either player.
Seven.
Quite often we see one mistake from one player be reciprocated by the other. Becomes contagious almost. Can Si Jiahui just set himself here? Just regain his focus.
8.
We've already mentioned just how big this match is for Si Jiahui. If he wins it, he goes into the top 16 for the first time in his career. Not just the ranking incentives though. He earned 131,000
14.
in tournaments last season on the World Snooker Tour. If he wins this match, he'll pocket 100,000 minimum from this event. Colossal prizes at stake.
Yes, we've not really talked about this so far, but if Si Jiahui could win this tournament, he'd be in the Champion of Champions, he'd be in the World Grand Prix, Players' Championship, Tour Championship. He'd be in the Masters, seeded through to the UK Championship and the Crucible.
21.
It's an incredible list, but it's all there, beckoning.
Within reach. But can he get it? Can he get his hands on that prize? It seems so close, but
22.
yet so far. He just has to take care of business this evening. He has to stay very present. Doesn't want to get too far ahead of himself. That's when things can spiral out of control. At the end of the day, if he takes care of business, i.e. pot this red, get on his colour, and continues to do so for the rest of the evening,
29.
He's got half a chance. He's got a very good chance.
Yes, if he were to beat O'Sullivan, 2 hurdles
35.
would still remain before C could collect that £500,000 first prize. But
36.
if he does beat O'Sullivan, there is no better boost to confidence.
$42.
So now the hard work starts really for Si Jiahui. He's got a 41-point lead. There's still 59 points available on this table. So he needs 2 of the remaining 4 reds. Yes, it's decision time, and he's doing the right thing here, just taking a moment. If he plays onto a colour, he has to get the perfect angle to play onto that red next to the black, which isn't easy. He's playing in a very tight area there. He doesn't necessarily want to play this red and promote any of the other reds. So a little bit of a dilemma. Well, he is going low, so he's going into them.
43.
Now this is a massive pot. Can he crunch this pink into the middle pocket and come back for the red?
Crunch being the operative word.
49. $50.
We've said before this week, intervals change matches. For Si Jiahui, I think the interval arrived at a very opportune time.
Si Jiahui 50. Yeah. Yeah.
Half-century
And
break
the
from Si Jiahui. It left Ronnie O'Sullivan requiring snookers. O'Sullivan remains in his chair, low-scoring frame. It could be a vitally important one. Si is back in front at 3-2. One veteran who's won multiple world titles in a spot of bother.
Take your
On
seats, please.
the main table, that's
Frame
Ronnie
6.
O'Sullivan, 3-2 down against Si Jiahui. But in terms of the scoreboard, at least, it's all going swimmingly for Mark Williams. Hasn't made a 50 break yet this evening, but he leads Jimmy Robertson 4-0. In terms of head-to-heads, Williams 10-1 up on Robertson, having beaten him twice at the Crucible, once at the UK Championship, and it looks as though that lopsided head-to-head is going to be improved even more.
Ronnie playing that with a trace of right-hand side. Just to check that cue ball up for the black, made the pot missable, or at least made it more difficult. It was always missable. Oh, and that's a very good pot from Si Jiahui. So, first chance falls to Si. This little exchange of frames now is going to be crucial in this match. Can he get a foothold once again?
Five. Six.
So he has one red available directly above the black. He can just top round 2 cushions for that now. He's possibly come up a little low on this
13.
red, which isn't a bad thing. He's got the option to top it through, push another red into play. Well, just avoided
14.
that. Chose against it. See him just pointing his cue to where he would roughly like to finish here. In potting this black, he can leave himself low on that red, just above the black now. That one there to this corner pocket.
$21.
And that time he
22.
could push reds into play, although nothing really seemed to move. And the same again for that shot. It seemed like a lot of effort for no real result.
29. Si Jiahui 29.
Well, if he played to get him behind the yellow, good luck to him, but I'm sceptical.
So big target up in behind that yellow now. That corner of the table is very inviting. But can either player get there? Yeah, this looks a good line from Ronnie. Took the slightly thicker route off that red. Again, from his previous safety shot, C took the option to just get the cue ball back into baulk. Ronnie took the option to absolutely nail him. That's the difference.
You don't naturally associate O'Sullivan with being cautious, but he knows that he's a superior safety player to his opponent this evening, and maybe now he will start to employ that tablecraft, that guile. That wasn't tablecraft though. Finding the gap between pink and blue. That was just good fortune. Even so, he might have left this red.
Yeah, and in all fairness to Ronnie, his opponent last night had a number of flicks and little moments like that. He's probably due one. Not that he needs it. Well, as good as the cue ball turned out to be, the fact that the red went over the corner pocket was not to his advantage. And Si Jiahui steps in and knocks it in.
And don't be confused there, just because the red was in close proximity to the pocket, that was not a simple proposition.
Absolutely, getting the cue ball where he has done actually was a brilliant shot.
Six.
Well, landing the wrong side of the blue was not intended, so in and out of baulk. Needs that cue ball to run on.
11.
Yeah, good shot from C. It's amazing to think that just a few seasons ago, really, he was competing on the Q Tour. His rise has been pretty rapid. And that's just a testament to his talent. But it's all well and good having the talent. It's what you do with it. He's a very dedicated player, Si Jiahui, based in Sheffield, Victoria Snooker Academy, where a number of top professionals are, all bouncing off one another.
18.
Of course, that man there, Ronnie O'Sullivan, is having an academy named after him here in Saudi Arabia to try and raise the level and nurture the players of Saudi to potentially bring a new star into the game. Oh, and again, that's a brilliant pot from C. Oh, and he's been so unfortunate there. That was a superb red he's potted.
He could literally stand there all night, knock that in, and not going off again. The entrance to the pocket for the cue ball there was minuscule. Will it be impactful?
It's great to see the Ministry of Sport and the Saudi Arabia Snooker and Billiard Federation really pushing to grow the level in this region. The fact that another brilliant long red from Si Jiahui. The fact that we've brought a big ranking tournament to this part of the world just allows the people of Saudi Arabia to see top-class snooker, see the level, see our superstars in the game. Clocked a number of kids backstage in the practice room and the VIP area. They're all ecstatic to see these guys in action. And that's exactly what will inspire a new generation. Well, that looks to have been one of the biggest bounces I've seen all week. But as it turns out, he's absolutely perfect.
Seven.
Yes, China invested in their youth program with snooker, and look at the result. 19 years after Deng Junhui broke through by winning the China Open on home soil. We had 9 Chinese players in the last 32 here.
13. 14.
This is some response.
20.
Must have been hurting a little in the mid-session interval.
21.
But he's not dwelled.
Seems to have just found another gear, Si Jiahui, a sign of a top player. In the face of adversity, is able to respond. Must have felt some of the Ronnie
26.
O'Sullivan force coming at him pre-interval.
27.
He's come out now and put together 2 good frames, albeit the first one, the previous one, after the interval was a bit scrappy. Could have gone either way. There was a number of mistakes, but it ended up being Si Jiahui
32.
coming good. So that man, Ronnie O'Sullivan, with plenty to think about as he watches on.
Si Jiahui 32 and a frame.
Yes, writing off Ronnie O'Sullivan is always foolhardy. But there's no doubt, given the way that Si is playing, that O'Sullivan will need to improve. He's 4-2 adrift. Si Xiaowei has played an awful lot of snooker here at the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters.
Ronnie.
He's had some really good
Thank
wins.
you, frame 7. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
But overcoming Ronnie O'Sullivan in a ranking event quarter-final would be quite clearly the best of the lot. Included in C's victims here, Jimmy White, 2006 world champion Graham Dott, who scored only 28 points in being whitewashed 5-0. He beat Tom Ford in the last 32, scraped home 6-5 against Pang Junzhu in the last 16.
Well, pick that one out. What a pot from Si Xiaowei. He has certainly got his eye in now. That was a brilliant red. He is a cool customer, isn't he?
8.
I really like how he goes about his business around the table. When he gets in the groove, he looks $1 million.
9.
The story of Si Xiaowei first came on the tour as a 17-year-old, thanks to getting through the 2019 Q School, but he was relegated from the tour in 2021, regained his place the following year by winning the World Snooker Federation Championship, essentially the World Amateur, and ever
16.
since he's been going from strength to strength. We talked about his run to the semi-final at the Crucible last year. What about earlier this year, when he was runner-up in the German Masters, appearing in his first ranking final? It is the right progression.
Yeah, and he played some wonderful stuff in Berlin to get to that final. But for that annoying Judd Trump, who just couldn't stop
24.
winning last season, he might have got his hands on a piece of silverware.
25.
Now, throughout the season, this kind of shot plays differently. Some tables are brutally
32.
tight, others are a little more generous. And I think this week,
33.
as that shot told us, they've been on the generous side. That caught an awful lot of the near jaw, played crisply.
And taking the chance to get straight into that pack of reds. He's okay. He does have a red to the yellow bag
40.
to keep this break going. And if he knocks it in, then it becomes a very good chance to win the frame. So this now a big shot for Si Xiaowei. Big shot.
41.
What big shot.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, an interested spectator, and no doubt Noppon Sankam as well.
I can't believe I've not even clicked on. You're right, he is on blacks.
49.
And well, what a chance this is. The smirk from Ronnie makes sense. Well, regardless, the opening red was absolutely tremendous. And so far, this break has been immaculate.
56.
Get the frame one first and foremost. Get yourself to within
57.
one of the semi-finals, but you're right. All of a sudden, Noppon Sankam is a little uncomfortable.
Now he's very uncomfortable. It's £50,000 for a 147 here. Sankam already has made one. He's in line for that, but he might have to share.
65.
Well, he's played that black so well. He's just sort of thrown his arm at it, kind of hoping that the cue ball would just do a little bit of damage to that pack, and it's just brought them all into play. Needs that cue ball to run.
72.
Can he top this white just at the underside of the two reds near the pink? He could, but he's lost the cue ball a fraction.
Didn't want to chip that red close to a cushion, and he hasn't. It's still in open play.
And he's absolutely pured it.
80.
He will never have a better chance than this. Highest break in professional competition, 140 at the 2020 Welsh Open and this year's German Masters.
$88.
You're
89.
right. He will never have a better chance for a maximum than this. Made slightly more difficult by the fact there's 50 big ones on it, Phil. Share it with Noppon Sankam, 25 large. If he keeps himself on the black here, the frame is won. Come on, C. He's just steadying himself now, taking a second. He knows this is his chance.
$96.
Well, the adrenaline there. He's hit that far too well. Oh, he's overscrewed that by some weight.
There is an alternative red to pot, but holding on the black will not be easy. Oh, what a shame. 12 reds, 12 blacks. No maximum, but the consolation, a 5-2 lead over Ronnie O'Sullivan in a race to 6. Boy, was that exciting. Si Jiahui, 12 reds, 12 blacks. We thought a maximum was on the cards.
Frame 8, Si Jiahui to break.
But as is so often the case, number 13 turned out to be unlucky.
And he needs to get the excitement and the adrenaline out of his system now. It's very much back to task. Can he see out this game? He's played superbly well after the interval. He deserves to be in front. And he's got a very healthy lead, but he has to see out the job.
Even the 2 frames that O'Sullivan has won tonight, he's not really bossed them. He's not been in control at all. He played brilliantly to turn both frames around, the 3rd and the 4th. But he's not kept C in his chair for lengthy periods.
And it's certainly a credit to his temperament, Si Jiahui, and his composure, how he's responded after this interval. Got very close to that red, but that little cannon to this red now has left it onto the green pocket, although it's very close to the object ball, the cue ball. You'd like to be pretty much straight on it. Yeah, great point.
They are loving it. O'Sullivan, they're not loving that one. The reaction of the black, it was more of a skid than a screw back.
I'm convinced that this cue ball just isn't quite reacting as Ronnie perhaps thinks it should be. He's played a number of shots so far tonight that haven't worked out and have pretty much gone nowhere near where intended. It's a good recovery shot though. Perhaps just not quite getting the spin out of the cue ball as he thinks he's going to.
$14. $15.
History shows us, though, do not write him off. He could be 40 minutes from victory.
$21.
From what we've seen so far tonight, it's unlikely that Ronnie's going to go mad for the next 4 frames and just not miss, but he wouldn't write it off. We've seen it before. And it wouldn't be a shock.
22.
I do think if the chance presents itself to see, surely he'll get at least 1 chance in the next 4 frames. That he will be able to take
29.
it and that he will be able to get over the line. I've got no doubt about that, but that question mark, he has to get in first.
30.
Looks like being 5-0 Williams on the other table. The Welshman has just made a 60-plus break to leave Jimmy Robertson requiring a
37.
snooker on the colours in frame 5.
38. $45. 46. 51. $52.
Well, possibly come up a little straight on this black, so may have to take the loose red to corner. Yellow or green pocket. Well, he just squeezed on it enough to play it potentially into the middle.
59. $60. $65.
Still some work to be done. And doing exactly the right thing.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 65.
Not just playing safe, but getting another red close to a cushion, reducing the likelihood of a C clearance.
And C taking the chance straight away to try and promote one of the safe reds. I mean, he's not played a good safety shot. Shot to nothing for Ronnie. And that's all it takes.
One.
For all of his excellence and entertainment value this evening, I've not been impressed by C's safety.
5.
That needs to be polished.
6.
So
13.
just giving C something to think about here, keeping him honest. Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's been a good frame.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 13. And the frame.
Yes, a good frame for the Rockets and a quick one. 5-2 has become 5-3. Do not write him off. that is the trophy on offer for the inaugural Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters. The tagline, battle on the bays, and that's most certainly the case in this match. The battle is far from over. Ronnie O'Sullivan needs the last 3 frames. There's plenty of precedent to say he can win them. That's Dr. Nasser Al-Shamari, really enjoying the match. And he should be very proud of the tournament he's put together here. It's been one of the best for quite some time.
Frame 9, Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Well, the last thing that Ronnie O'Sullivan wanted was that loose red to go up the table, but it has done. So can Si Jiahui just find one good pot here to get himself nicely in? The answer is no.
The universal phrase you hear around the world, come on, Ronnie.
One. Eight.
The knowledgeable crowd here loving that shot, and why not?
9.
The universal code for when your back's up against the wall in a game of snooker, produce your left hand. Why not?
$17.
So many implications to this match, not least the world #1 position. If Ronnie were to be beaten this evening, Judd Trump, regardless of what happens from here on in, would leave Riyadh remaining at the top of the rankings.
$24.
I mean, look at some of the shots he's pulling off here with his left hand. It's disgusting, Ronnie. You shouldn't be allowed to do it. It's unbelievably good. The strike is just so clean.
29.
Of course, famously in the mid-90s at the Crucible, he played a match against Alain Robidoux and he played a few shots one-handed. Oh, hates that one.
36.
He's played a couple of that shot so far this evening that have just gone slightly wrong and fallen out of position. Yeah, and he doesn't like that one either. So Si Jiahui steps up to the table with hand on table. Chance at this long red to right corner. Ronnie really did not like that safety shot. Very, very below par for him. So slightly awkward bridge hand for Si, but can he knock this red in? Well, talk about margins. That was a millimetre away from dropping in.
1.
But as the old cliche goes, snooker is a game of fractions.
Eight. Nine. 16.
O'Sullivan's ambidextrous skills have to be seen to be believed. And this isn't an exhibition match.
24.
He's not running away with this. He's under pressure.
25.
And he was fuming that he had to play that one right-handed. What a break this is. Oh, it's just so good. So good to watch. It's a privilege to watch.
32.
And in just over 5 minutes, 5 minutes and 20 seconds to be precise, this frame is done.
41.
Blink and you'll miss him, they used to say. Still very much applies to this day.
48. 49. 56. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 56. And the frame.
Ronnie O'Sullivan is astoundingly good. And he's not out of this match yet. Now, what about Mark Williams? Well, he's definitely into the semi-finals because he's about to defeat Jimmy Robertson by 6 frames to 0. The whitewash is guaranteed because Williams is on a century break. And this victory, for what it's worth, means that John Higgins will retain his top 16 place going into the next event. Finishing with a flourish. Much of the early stuff in this match was scrappy, but not the end. Mark Williams showing he's well capable of scooping the jackpot here at the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters. What a quarter-final night
Thank you.
in Riyadh.
Thank
Mark
you.
Williams through to his
CJOE to break.
66th ranking event semi-final. But will Ronnie O'Sullivan make it into his 94th? He has to win the last 2 frames, but after the previous 2, no one is discounting that possibility.
Well, Sijawi was 5-2 up, and all of a sudden, he's now only 1 in front from nowhere. And all of a sudden, the pressure is kind of on Sijawi to get this job done. He was absolutely cruising, and all of a sudden, it's become very tense for him.
Yes, the cue ball is back into baulk, but it's bounced off that bottom cushion and the red is there.
Now, this is your chance, Sijawi. This red very close to going in for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Struck it nicely. Was really trying to get hold of the cue ball there to hold for the black. Maybe down to the fact that he's missed it, trying to hold too much. So in goes the initial red. He's come up slightly straight on this blue, which means he's going to be playing his next ball from distance. Oh, he's got a slight bit of angle. He can pinch a bit of the pocket too. That's a nicely played shot to get closer to the reds.
6.
Not sure why he's held his hand up there. He's literally played for a red ball and he's landed on one. But there we go. So he's just studying the pack of reds now. There's a number of balls that will pot. However, they're all kind of covering one another for the time being, so it's time to start chipping away at them. Pot one, release another.
7.
He'd love to clear up this black area, in particular the reds left of it, just to give himself access both sides to the black. Yeah, that's okay. That's good. So this really is now the first chance that we'll get to see
14.
as to whether C can get over the line.
$15.
This visit will tell us an awful lot about his temperament.
22.
Didn't pot a ball in either of the previous 2 frames.
23.
Well, the consolation of not finishing the correct side of the blue is the fact that he's gone too far and he's on it to the corner. Felt that the cue ball was a natural line that it was taking to land on these reds left of the black, and he looks to have played it perfectly.
28. He's
got probably 50 points available here, minimum, before he really needs to do anything. Just take what's there for the time being, just establish a healthy lead in this frame.
36.
From what we've seen so far today, this is very much a chance you would expect Si Jiahui to take. However, with what's on the line, a place in a ranking event semi-final very early on in this
37.
campaign, the fact that if he wins this match, he goes into the top 16 for the first time in his career, and the small figure of 100 smackaroonies on the line as well. So much at stake. Can he hold it together?
The £100,000 would be equaling his biggest ever payday. But beating O'Sullivan on a stage like this, that would be immense in 45. The career of Si Jiahui.
And it really would just give him that self-belief and confidence, just confirm it that he is a member of the top-class players on the World Snooker Tour, that he belongs to be competing against the best players in the world. Any win at any given stage of your career against Ronnie is a huge feat.
53.
But to do it in this huge event would be excellent, unbelievable. He's close. And surely that little cannon now is the shot that's going to see Si Jiahui over the line in this game. He's played superbly
61.
well tonight. He's really taken it to Ronnie O'Sullivan. And he stood up well to the mini comeback.
$68.
This is it.
69.
Frame and match ball safely in.
And as expected, it just took the one chance. He was just waiting for that one chance to come along, that one mistake from Ronnie O'Sullivan. The missed opening red from the rocket proved to be very costly indeed. Si Jiahui has stepped
74.
up. He's shown his class. At 22 years of age, this boy is going right to the top of this game. He's got a very long career ahead of him. Could this be the springboard for that rise?
75. $82.
Out of position.
Si Jiahui, 82.
So he doesn't finish off with a century, but I tell you what, that was guts. O'Sullivan was flying in 2 frames, but Si Jiahui stood up to him. It is goodbye to Ronnie O'Sullivan, but for Si Jiahui, it is welcome to the semi-finals and welcome to the world's top 16. What a result for him, and fully deserved.
Fully deserved, 22 years of age, and as Phil beautifully adumbrated, in fact, I'm going to pause my thought for a second there to say that right there is just fantastic to see. Si Jiahui, he's beaten, dare I say, his hero Ronnie O'Sullivan, and look at the fans, look at the support for snooker, the snooker community in Saudi Arabia that's clearly growing, and they want to get a piece of the man who, as Phil alluded to, is a man who could potentially go all the way and lift a world title, and more imminently, could go all the way and lift the inaugural title here in Saudi Arabia, Steve.
How nice is that to see? You know, he's played beautifully well this evening, and he's really taken it, and he's been very much appreciated by this crowd. Everyone wanted to see Ronnie O'Sullivan win, but a new star is on the horizon here, Si Jiahui. He was my tip for the week, and he's playing so well. He thoroughly deserved that win.
The bottle it took when Ronnie O'Sullivan is in the rearview mirror and is encroaching and is beginning to get in that 5th gear to get across the line, chef's kiss.
Impressive. And it wasn't just the way that Ronnie came back at him. He pretty much won 2 frames in about 10 minutes. So all of a sudden, he's 5-2 up, sat in his chair comfortable. Within the blink of an eye, it's 5-4, and he's thinking, this is going to get away from me. How well has he taken those balls in that last frame, you know? Yes, it took a mistake from Ronnie, but he just stood up.
There is something about when you watch Ronnie, I don't know what it's like to be sat there when he's on the table in front of you, and like you say, ball after ball after ball, frame, ball after ball after ball, frame, and to then still go, no, I fancy the job. Fair play to him.
Especially when Ronnie just flicks out the left hand and he's not missing with his left peg as well. It's commendable, you know. Temperament, composure. Si Jiahui played so well in that game, and you know he could take some stopping because he's very much a confidence player. He's been a player that's sort of been on your watch list for a long while. He's matched his 2nd biggest win of his career, £100,000 in the bank.
What a day at the office.
Not bad, is it?
And just a word for Ronnie O'Sullivan. I mean, we know that every tournament he goes in, the eyes of the sporting world, the eyes of the snooker world are firmly fixed on him. For the last week, the eyes of Saudi Arabia have been very much on him. Every single match he has given everything to.
Yeah, and it's what we expect from such a great champion, you know, Ronnie O'Sullivan. We owe a lot to him, that, you know, breaking into these sorts of destinations and regions. You know, he's always going to be the star name, and he's always going to come to these events and try his best. But today he was beaten by the better man.
Absolutely right. Well, he, a member of the class of '92, has fallen at the hurdle of the quarterfinals. One of the other men who didn't do that is a 3-times world champion, Mark Williams. And earlier on, after his victory, by the way, and to bring you right up to date, it was 6-0 against Jimmy Robertson. He spoke to Ken Doherty.
Congratulations, a wonderful, emphatic win against Jimmy Robertson, 6-0. You must be really pleased with the way you played.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't play great, and you know, Jimmy struggled a bit, but to win 6-0 in the quarter-final, you know, it's unbelievable. It's another major semi-final for me. So I think someone told me yesterday that it was something like my 105th or 110th quarter-final, so I don't know how many semis that is, but you know, my aim was to be in the top 16 around 50, and you know, this so far has put me in good stead, and I'm probably going to get my achievement, I think.
I'll tell you what, the way you're going, you'll be in the top 16 when you're 60 at this rate.
I'm not sure about that, Ken. I'll try.
But listen, the way you played, you finished off with a century. When you spoke to me the other day, you beat Tepchaya 5-4. You said it was the worst performance that you've ever had, but you still won. You still have that great innate ability to keep winning even when you're not playing well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, anyone can win when they're playing well. It's really hard to scrape through victories when you're not playing so well, and you know, I've done really well at that through my career, winning games where I'm not really played that well, and then gradually build up for the tournament. But I'm still in massive tournament and can't wait.
Well, you say a massive tournament, and what a tournament it has been here in Riyadh. 500,000 on offer. You're already guaranteed 100,000. Lots of prize money and lots of ranking points as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, whoever wins this, I mean, if I did win this somehow, I probably wouldn't even pick my queue up till Christmas time because there's no need. You're in everything. But yeah, whoever wins this, especially if Judd wins, he'll be so far in front, number one, you can't catch him for about 2.5 decades.
Well, I tell you what, you'll go a long way if you win this 500,000. You know, you could close the gap very, very quickly.
Yeah, I'll try my best. The last frame there was funny because the ref picked the cue ball up. I potted the black with the rest, and he picked the cue ball up. And I tried to stop him, and you know, it was hard to find out where he was, but I put it perfect, I did.
Of course. Well, listen, the best of luck. Keep playing the way you're playing, and good luck in the semi-final.
Thank you.
The nature of one TV table is we haven't seen as much of Mark Williams as we'd have liked, but we will definitely get to see him tomorrow because he takes on Si Jiahui on the TV table. That is the second semi-final. That'll be the one taking place in the evening. And as for the afternoon, it's Judd Trump and Shaun Murphy. 3 seeds, 1 man who wasn't in the seeds going through there. And just doing a quick bit of maths, 5 world championships between those 4 players. I mean, Stephen, it's going to be quality tomorrow.
Couple of big rematches as well, isn't it? Judd Trump took on Shaun Murphy in the final of Shanghai.
Great point.
Mark Williams took on Si Jiahui in the first round in Sheffield last season, which, you know, went the distance. Mark actually said that the deciding break that Si Jiahui made against him was one of the best he's ever seen. So he's very much aware of his capabilities. He won't be, you know, giving it easy to Si Jiahui tomorrow. Mark Williams has got a very tough match on his hands.
Okay, let's put some flesh on the bones then. So you mentioned Mark and Si. So Mark, in terms of snooker IQ, there aren't many with higher. He will know Si's weaknesses. One of those, I imagine, is inexperience and not knowing his way around the table like you would do if you turned pro in 1992. What can Mark do to potentially contain him and neutralise him?
Tablecraft. You know, he's very, very slick at what he does, Mark Williams. You know, he's one of the best in the business. He's a smooth operator. He needs to use his experience, put Si Jiahui under it from the off. Si Jiahui can be a very good front runner, very attacking player. When he gets in, he can reel off frames quickly. Mark Williams has to neutralise that.
What would he do? Does he need to raise his game, Mark Williams? Because speaking to him after a couple of the matches, he was saying, I'm still not playing my absolute best by any stretch of the imagination. Will it be good enough currently against Si?
Potentially, you know, you can never say not because he's such a good player. But I think Mark, in a funny way, always, you know, he's always striving for that better improvement, isn't he? He's playing some really good stuff. Let's be honest. You know, he saw off Jimmy Robertson there 6-0 comfortably, playing good stuff. He's playing well enough to beat Si Jiahui, of course he is, but Si's also playing well. It's going to be a very, very good match.
It is, as it will be in the afternoon, the all-English affair, Murphy and Trump. Stylistically, how's this one going to work? Because we kind of set up Robertson, Trump as the heavy hitters. You called it, it'll be one from range. Dare I say it won't be the same with Murphy, or do you think it could be?
I think Shaun has to take the game to Judd Trump. I think he has to attack him early, and I think Shaun's scoring is going to be what's potentially the difference in this match. Judd Trump's game has been rising to another level tactically. He's very good at just caging your opponent, boxing you into that corner. Shaun will obviously be aware of that, but Shaun's, you know, strengths are attacking and heavy scoring, and when he gets in that rhythm, gets that stomp going around the table, as Judd said earlier, it can be very intimidating, and Judd knows that, and he's got to try and stop that tomorrow.
Interestingly, one thing Judd also said is the fact that getting the first 2 frames under his belt gave him that confidence, gave him that momentum. So I wonder how crucial those first couple of frames could be if it goes to the Smurf.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, we saw already Judd Trump has been behind in matches in this event, and he's responded well. But he said today he got off to a much better start, which filled him with confidence. And, you know, you feel that Judd, if he does get those first couple of frames on the board tomorrow, the purple patch he's in at the minute, it could just be enough to see him sail away with this win. We saw it in the final of the Shanghai Masters. Murphy played brilliantly well in that semi-final to beat Mark Selby in Shanghai. If he plays like that tomorrow, he's got a chance, but Judd just was able to shut him out and completely dominate that final in Shanghai. If he does that tomorrow, Shaun's got a very tough match on his hands.
Let's just remind ourselves, if they win tomorrow, how much money goes into that bank account? Is it 250 or would it be 150?
Big ones.
So it's 200. 200 large is what is on the line tomorrow. 2 men will do exactly that. 3 former world champions and one of the most talented players snooker has ever produced. 4 reasons to watch tomorrow: Si Jiahui, Mark Williams, Shaun Murphy and Judd Trump. We hope you'll see you tomorrow afternoon for the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters.